ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cat Talk here on GreeneCountyHeraldOnline.com. I'm Russell Turner. This is my good friend Dick Chatham, the AD here at Greene County High School, and we're back with Cat Talk. It's been a couple of weeks. We took a little time off for spring break, but things have heated back up at the high school. And you got a lot going on.
Yeah, they are. Baseball, softball season are winding down. We're getting to the point where we're going to be determining where we go in the playoffs and if we make the playoffs for those sports. And I tell you what, I'm really excited about the interview we've got coming.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we had a great discussion actually yesterday with Danny Box, the new Greene County Economic Development Coordinator. But we talked to him about his interest in sports, and you need to stick around for that because it was a great interview. I wish we'd had about 3 hours to do that. But what is your situation? Y'all had a couple of really big wins, and then you had a tough one on Monday.
Friday night we play here tomorrow night with a chance to win the division.
Right.
We hold our own destiny in our hands now. If we lose tomorrow night, then Stone County wins the division.
Right.
But we're looking at finishing either first or second, which will allow us to host a playoff series. So we're excited about that. Softball could finish anywhere from first or fourth. They've still got a good bit of their district season left. So.
Well, and I was talking to Coach Barham, and he said they had a good practice yesterday, and then he's excited about the opportunity. Thinks the girls realize the opportunity. I know your guys do because y'all have been kind of in this spot in the past, and from all accounts, I did not see the game, but I followed it. Colin pitched a great game for you. And anything could have happened, but it was just one of those great high school baseball games, and ended up 1-0, and now you got a chance to pay that back to them. So
at our place, and that I tell the guys, or I told the guys after the game Tuesday or Monday, when you play a good team like that, two good teams play, you got to be almost perfect. Right. And that's the kind of game it was. And a couple calls that went their way at home, we're kind of hoping to get that home field advantage tomorrow night. So it equals out. It's going to be an exciting.
Well, come out if you can. The girls are going to be traveling tonight, so they'll be down at Pass Christian. But high school will have baseball tomorrow, Friday night, and that's going to be a fantastic environment. You definitely need to come out and check that out and support the Wildcats. Got a great baseball team, pretty decent coaching. So come on out, and then Saturday the Lady Cats will be at home in Game 2 against Pass. So that's another opportunity to come out. You know the time on that? I know yours is a 5 and 7 game.
Man, I can't remember. It's a midday game at some point.
Gotcha. So probably around 2 o'clock something.
I think it's more like 11 and
1,
12:30 or 12 and 1:30 or something like that.
Well, we'll try to.
I can verify that.
We'll try to verify that and bring it back. Stick around. We got a lot to talk about with Danny Box. I think you'll enjoy it. It's going to be the first of several interviews with Danny. Really interesting guy, very smart guy. Glad to have him on staff with the county, but also glad to have the opportunity to talk to him yesterday. So stick around for that, and then Nick and I'll be back in a few minutes to wrap things up. Stay with us.
Here's a scenario. Work has sent you cross-country. You drive 2,000 miles, eat something that resembles food, and seal the deal with a room full of strangers. Now you have a big old check, which means you hold in your hands the future of your company. But wait, you have the Singing River Federal app, which means you and thousands of others like you can bank wherever you are. So no more worries, except for whatever you ate. Singing River Federal, the better way to bank, wherever you are.
All right, folks, we're back. Got our good friend Danny Box with us here today. Danny is the Economic Development Coordinator for Greene County, and he's doing an exceptional job. And I could spend hours talking to him about that. But today we're going to talk to him about athletics. And Danny is a historian of sports, so to speak, but he's also got some really interesting things that he does with I'll just let you tell us about it when you do at USM.
Well, I've been involved with the athletic department at the University of Southern Mississippi since the late 90s. I worked on a master's degree in sport management, and that continued on. I got a PhD in administration of sports, and while I was working on my master's, I had to do a practicum. And I did that with the compliance officer at the university. And one of the things that, just after I started working in his office, he told me he needed me to help him do something one night. And so I met him at the appointed time. We went to a basketball game, and he said, I need you to run the shot clock. It's for a girls' basketball game. And after that night, I made so many errors that I didn't figure they'd have me back. But out of that, I started doing the shot clock at the beginning. I did it for the guys and the girls. Now I just do it for the men, because it's a big commitment to do all the games. So started doing the shot clock, and then they asked me if I'd help them at football games. And so I do the way I describe it at the football games. I do the fan information type things on the scoreboard. I put the time up, and there's an official that runs the time, but I put the time on the scoreboard. I put the yard line that the ball's on, and the distance for a first down, and the score, and the timeouts, and those kind of things and I've been doing that since the late 90s. I told somebody recently that I don't know if it's something to be proud of or sad about, but I have not missed a home Southern Miss football game in 20 years.
That's awesome.
Wow.
You're probably got the longest standing streak on that. What you think?
I don't know. It's possible.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. Shame on me for not knowing this about you.
I've known Eddie for a long time, and I had no idea.
About Greene County, I didn't know the background in the sports management and all of that. That's
Well, I did that. I earned a history degree up there when I was in my early 30s, and my idea, I was an employee of the USDA, Department of Agriculture. I had the idea that I was going to coach baseball in high school, so I went back and got a history degree, and some other things happened, and I said, well, I'm gonna work on a master's degree, and I transitioned from history into sports management, and did that and finished the PhD, and I never did leave the USDA job. I had a friend that I met told me that I had the federal handcuffs on. He knew I wasn't going to leave, but you get a certain number of years into the federal government, you're not going to walk away from it. I've taught in that department there for a number of years. I hadn't in a few years, but teach adjunct in sport management classes.
I found that out today. I had no idea he had taught at USM either, and I know having, there's so many things we could talk about, but just talk to us about some of the history of those games, some of the players that you've seen that have come through that have,
especially in football, because my focus at a football game, naturally I get to watch the game, and I'm into the game, but it's a little bit difficult to keep up with what a specific player is doing, because my focus is on the play. Where are they fixing to put this ball?
Right.
Because I got to input that information
pretty quick.
Yeah. Especially in today's times where they play in this up-tempo football, I got to put that in. So between plays is when I'm doing my work, and normally between plays is when you're becoming familiar with the players.
Right.
But some things that I remember through the years is I remember when Southern Miss beat Texas Christian it was a weeknight game, and they were highly ranked, and LaDamian Tomlinson was the running back, and they came to Hattiesburg highly ranked, and I think they had a chance to go to the Rose Bowl, and we knocked them out that night up there, and that was, I think, one of the few times that the students came out and tore the goalposts down after the game. I remember a quarterback there. His name was Dustin Allman. Because while I was living in Hattiesburg, I still played softball some, and in a summer league I was in, wound up playing on a softball team with Dustin, and of all people, Reggie Collier. You remember Reggie Collier? Great, super athlete, football player, but that he was before my time working there. And football, and then I remember good teams there under Fedora, especially the last year. And this is kind of aside from what I'm there to do, but it's a fine line between something great and something
Right.
not so great
Yeah, right.
in football. But I remember Fedora's last year, I believe it was, well, I'm positive, it was 2011. We had a really good team. We had a really good team, and we had lost the game. But it was on toward the end of the season, and in the conference, Houston was undefeated, and we were sitting there with one loss. And as the season began to draw to a close, the storyline was, it looks like we're going to have an undefeated Houston team and a one-loss Southern Miss team playing in the Conference USA Championship for a spot in the Sugar Bowl. Now that's something big for Southern. And we, being Southern Miss, we go to UAB, who had literally, statistically, one of the worst teams in the country, and they beat us.
Yeah.
So it went from that scenario to here we have an undefeated Houston team playing a two-loss Southern Miss team for the conference championship. If Houston wins, they're going to the Sugar Bowl. If Southern wins, who knows?
Right.
Well, we just go, and we played them at Houston, and we just beat them like they had stolen something.
Yeah.
And out of that, we went to Hawaii to a bowl game, and
Did you get to go?
no,
Oh, man,
I remember they might have had an outside chance at a BCS berth that year. if I'm
they
not
had an
mistaken.
outside chance at a BCS birthday, and the Sugar Bowl might have been a BCS game in that year. I don't remember.
You
but
mentioned the fine line between being great and being bad. Boy,
that was a stark
went down
example of
after
it.
that,
It
yeah.
was a stark example because there was, and I don't know any of the details, but there was internal strife over the decision to go to Hawaii
That's right,
because
I
the fan base couldn't go.
Yeah, right.
Fedora knew that he went to North Carolina.
Right.
He went to North Carolina. There was a new hire made, and the next year we didn't win a game.
Right.
We didn't win a game.
That's what I'm saying. It went downhill so fast.
And but I remember too, talking about players, the coach Monken. Matter of fact, he was Georgia's offensive coordinator.
Right.
He was a head coach at Southern for 3 years, I believe, and you could tell he was building that thing back, and he had it back. They played in the conference championship. Nick Mullen was a good quarterback there, and Jamie Collins. I remember Jamie playing up there. Was a high school quarterback, but big, fast, just a tremendous athlete that's been really well represented in the pros. With,
What's the kid's name from West Lauderdale? The brother.
Austin Davis. Austin was that was Fedora's quarterback during those good teams, and so that's kind of it in football. And what I really enjoy the basketball. I sit at center court, right on the floor, and I've seen so many basketball games now through the years. And same thing. I watch the game, but my focus is on the ball.
Right.
And for the most part, a fan's focus is always on the ball, but my focus has to be more on the ball, and I can't get distracted from the ball because something might happen that requires a reset of the shot clock.
Right.
And of course, mistakes are made, and most of the time they're correctable. But I sure am happy when I leave a game and I didn't make a mistake, which is pretty often. The game.
It sounds like volunteerism brew in here. If he retires from that, he might have to come to it. It's got great food.
I ran this clock for our basketball game, and it's intense.
Oh, it is.
It's a lot to keep up
It's
with.
a job.
Now at the basketball games, you got the scoreboard operator sitting right beside me, and he's in college basketball now. Most of the timing is done by the on-floor officials. They have that pack, and there's a sensor in their whistle. When they blow the whistle, it stops the clock, and they reach that pack on an inbound and they start it. So the pressure's not as great on the scoreboard operator, but he is having to put in the score. If a foul's committed, who committed committed the foul, and then all that needs to agree with the official score.
Right.
Because the information on the board, the officials are dependent on it. And it's, Monday night I watched Kansas and North Carolina in the championship game. It was a great, college basketball to me is the best sport that there is.
Well, I'm a North Carolina fan, so if
You
you
a
want
North
to talk about
Carolina
something
fan.
else, we can move on.
Well, you know, I catch myself, anytime I'm watching a college basketball game, early in the game I want to see the officials because, well, just as an example, 2 of the officials Monday night worked Southern Miss games this year. And you see, before the games, pre-pandemic, now it's a little different. Pre-pandemic, 45 minutes before tip-off, the table crew goes into where the officials are for a pre-game meeting. And, you know, it's pretty basic. Some of the officials, you go in and they ask you, has anything been going wrong with the timing? And you've been doing this a long time. But then the next official, he might quiz you on a lot of things. But the best basketball player that these eyes have ever seen live was Derrick Rose. In 2008, he played at Memphis. He only played there 1 year. And we had a decent basketball team that year. Larry Eustace was the coach. Man, intensity. He was an intense coach. And Calipari was at Memphis, and they were ranked 1 or 2 in the nation when they came to Hattiesburg, because they were in Conference USA at the time. And, you know, we lined up and played them. We played them that day. And in the second half, it was nip and tuck. And Calipari brought Rose out of the game. And I think we were a point or 2 ahead when he come back at about the 5 or 6 minute mark. He took him out just, you know, in his general rotation, but he brought him back to finish the game. And you could tell, because see, they come down to the scores table and they're right there to check in. Because I'm sitting right beside the official scores, they have to come and check into the game. And we had given a little spurt right there and taken the lead. And he was a freshman, big barrel-chested guy, you know, about 6'3", and you know, he was like, guys, calm down, I'm on the way back. And when he went in, it was game over.
Right.
And he carried them to the championship game of that year, and they played Kansas. Kansas just won it again. And you know, think about this.
That was between NCAA investigations.
Right, which they're under right now, too.
Memphis is. Well, and I think Derrick Rose is involved in some of that. I'll talk about that a little bit in just a second if you want me to. I'll get political with you. But Bill Self made the comment the other night after the game that he told his team, guys, would you rather be down 9 with 2 minutes to go, I believe it was, or would you rather be down 15 with a whole half to go? Because in 2008, they were down 9 to Memphis with time running out. And I believe it was a guy named Chalmers hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer to tie that game and went to overtime. But Derrick Rose carried Memphis to that point. He was that good. And you know, he went on and was an MVP in the NBA. Derrick Rose was a really good player.
Well, you know, even if you take the really truly special players out, watching NCAA basketball, NCAA football, you see just a ton of good athletes. But Danny's got an interest too, since he's an historian, on local athletics. We were talking the other day on the history of the last game at Leaksville High School, and that was pretty interesting too. So
yeah, and I keep I've done some work on it, but I want to do better, and I want to see it in the paper. Really, historically, my buddy Bubba Pierce wrote the article a few years ago I think it was 2019, where in 1979, I was a sophomore in high school, and Leaguesville and George County, they had already consolidated. We hadn't. But that was our rival. You know, George County was our rival, and they were bigger than us. They were bigger than us after we consolidated. So you imagine when it was George County against Leaguesville, but we beat them in '79. And I see PA around sometimes, and I want to tell people, do you know what that man right there could do on a sports field? PA played it all, and then he played it all really good.
That PA who was
PA Coker.
Okay.
PA Coker. He went on and played football at Jones, but at Leaguesville he was Mr. Everything in athletics, and he was good.
Had some really good baseball players. I don't particularly remember them having great seasons back then. There were some individual baseball players on those teams that were very good. If y'all don't mind, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and talk to Danny a little bit more. Is that all right?
That's fine.
All right, folks, give us just a second. We'll be right back. If you've suffered an injury and are seeking justice for that injury, you don't have to leave town to find a personal injury lawyer. You need to call Joe Beard with Beard & Stewart's Attorneys at Law. Hometown lawyers helping hometown folks. Give Joe a call at 601-394-5900. And remember, go Cats, go! All right, folks, we're back. We've been talking with Danny Box here about his experiences at USM and following sports locally. But Danny, I also want to talk about you as an athlete. You brought it up a few times about playing softball. You know, for years. Do you still play any
Oh, no. You know, I tell people that if God looked down and said, Danny, I'm going to make you 30 years old for one day. What do you want to do that day? My response would come that quick. Put me in a softball tournament with the team that I used to play for.
Fun times.
Fun times.
I'll tell you, I'm highly upset that there's a baseball mind in Greene County like yourself, and I hadn't offered him a spot on my staff yet.
No, I mean, seriously, he would be exceptional at it. And I did not know that you had wanted to coach. So I just think that's very interesting. You got is your PhD in sports management as well?
In sport management. On the diploma, it says administration and teaching, but the emphasis area was sport management.
Well, if you ever need an agent, you know.
I don't think I'll have that problem.
Nick's doing great out here with our baseball team, and you know, from an economic development standpoint,
Just wait for this.
anything that brings pride to our community is good for economic development. So,
how many times have you heard me preach that in our little sessions?
you know, when you and your guys, the deeper in the playoffs y'all can go, and even to the point of winning the state championship, you know what that'll do to this, for this community. Not putting any pressure on Nick. I know that's what you want to do. You set out to do.
Well, bringing that up, you know, I'm an advocate for playing the state championship in the communities. You know, they moved it to
That's right. At the
Trustmark in
Trustmark.
Jackson, but you know, I remember in 2003 when Greene County played in the
I was
state
here.
championship. I was too, as a fan, coming out and seeing the community support. I want that for our kids and for our community.
It'd be great.
I hope they make a move back to that in the future. But
Well, Coach Bray was great here with the baseball, and I remember when you played. You were playing on some of his first teams.
That's right.
And you know, Coach Bray came in and he gave us a outstanding baseball team right away.
Right.
And you know, I understand high school. You play the cards that you dealt.
That's right.
And it's your job to help develop them and make them the best that they can be. And I think you're doing that.
well, speaking of community support, Friday night we're here at Scott Bray Field with the division championship on the line. So
Friday night.
yes, sir. We need some support out to show these people what Greene County's all about.
Well, you plugged that in our pre-discussion, and you do it again.
That's right.
And it is important. Nick has created a great atmosphere out here, and that's one of the things, getting back to the economic development, you know, a lot of times the only chance you get to show people from outside your community is when they come to visit for things like an athletic event. And I think Nick does a great job with his facilities and the way his team approaches stuff. But I looking back at that state championship, everything was in place. I mean, just every piece of grass was in place, and we had great crowds, and it was just truly remarkable. And I think Scott did a fantastic job. But Scott, you know, also had the benefit of timing too, because people were hungry. And people were receptive to everything, you know, because he had some different ideas, and people were receptive to that, and it was a perfect storm, and he did a great job. And
he'll say this all the time. He says it all the time. You know, that first season was so important for him. You know, if that first team, which I was a part of, hadn't bought into what he was selling,
right,
and we hadn't been successful, the next how many years of the run that he went on wouldn't have gone the same. So you're right, people were hungry, we as kids were hungry, and,
right,
and he gave us what we needed.
Yeah, and there was a toughness too about those teams that was mentally and physically.
Let me tell you a little bit of a story, I guess, as far as high school coaches. I worked with the USDA and had the privilege of spending 20 years working with a retired basketball coach. L.D. Reddy coached basketball at Richton for years and years, and he was an outstanding coach. And he told me a story once about, they were in a staff meeting there at Richton, and a teacher was complaining, I guess you'd say, about the sports and its comparison to academics. And Coach Reddy by no means placed athletics ahead of academics, but his response to that teacher was this: you, as an English teacher, this community has no idea, other than the 20, 25 students in your class, their parents know what kind of job you're doing, but this community in general, they really don't know. But my product, I have to put it out there on public display.
That's right. To always be critiqued.
To always be critiqued. Yep. So, and
well, it's one of my favorite things to do is play Monday morning quarterback. Nick and I do it all the time, talking about different games and stuff. But there's a difference between that and some of the things that you're seeing today. You know, I noticed the other day talking about scoreboard and the importance of it. Somebody, I can't remember who it was in the state, did a study, but there's a lot of umpires that are telling clock operators just to shut them down because they're so wrong. And they're affecting the game to the point where, wait, we thought we had one out. I thought it was 2 strikes.
Right.
And so, you know, it is very important what you do, but you go to games now and just some of the vitriol that you hear directed at coaches and umpires, and you know, it's just, I don't know where that's going, but it's going to have to be addressed at some point because it is taken away from the games.
Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, to a certain extent.
Sure. Oh, I'm as rough on umpires as anybody.
yeah, I've embarrassed myself regarding umpires in the past, but you know, I try to be respectful of the coaches. I mean, I have my opinion. You know, that's part of the deal. But the man or woman that it falls on their shoulders to make those decisions at a given time, you've got to respect that. And there's reasons behind it that you may not be aware of.
That's right.
Well, we're definitely going to have you back on the show. This has been fascinating.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Any specific thing you want to talk about before we?
I want to save that story of the last football game in Leaksville to another time, where we can spend the whole time on that. So it's a great story about sport. Sport, to me, I taught several times a class, sports sociology, and sport is a microcosm of society.
Sure.
And it's a great way to unite people. You know, you get people in the stands of different races, different socioeconomics status, different communities in one place cheering for a team against people from the same thing on the other side, so it unites us. It has the ability to unite us. So sport is critical in our schools, and the lessons learned carry on for a lifetime. So I'll come back anytime.
Great. Well, we want to have you back, and I'd love to have just a show to talk to you about the great job that I do believe you're doing, honestly, with your economic development efforts. And anybody, if you're not paying attention, Danny is doing a great job for our county, and I appreciate that.
Thank
But I also appreciate you being on today. We will definitely.
We can't have them on too much now. We might be out of a job.
No doubt.
No.
But we do appreciate you being on, folks. We'll be back in a minute to wrap things up. Thanks a lot.
The mission of Greene County Farm Bureau is to provide you with unmatched customer service and attention. If you're looking for home, auto, or life insurance, you should definitely give Jared Lott or Tyler Bray a call to learn more about the full line of insurance and financial services they have available. It's easy to find out if you're getting the type of coverage you need at the best possible rates. Just drop by and see Jared or Tyler at 812 Main Street in Leakesville, or give them a call at 601-394-2801.
All right, welcome back to Cat Talk, folks. As promised, we had a great interview with Mr. Danny Box. I went home and told several people I did not realize he was such an interesting man.
Yeah, he really is, and I mean, it seems like the more you talk to him, the deeper and more interesting he gets. And like you said, how nice it would be to have that kind of person involved in practice a few times. I'm just really cool to talk to, and like I said, doing a fabulous job in economic development work for the county, and not an easy job, but he's doing a really good job at it. So I can't wait to have him back on. We're not going to wait too long before we have him back.
He's such a good storyteller.
Oh,
Man, educated, and honestly, I don't know if I've ever met him before yesterday, but proud he's from Greene County. He represents us well.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing, I mean, Danny and I weren't necessarily close, but we've known each other a long time. I've known him a long time. I can remember him playing softball and just knowing him coming up. And I had zero idea of his background. I knew he worked with the USDA, but I had no idea about the other stuff. So every time I talk to him, I learn a little bit something different.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But a lot of things going on. I hope you did enjoy that interview with him, and we do promise to have him back. But do want to once again reiterate that tomorrow night, Friday night, baseball will be at home in a very, very important game against Stone County. So definitely come out to that. Saturday, we'll have girls softball at home against Pass Christian. Game time,
JV at 11, varsity at 12:30.
11 and 12:30 on Saturday. Supposed to be a pretty weekend, so
I think so.
So come on out to that. And we definitely want to. We almost forgot. I had two guys go to Jackson this past weekend and represent the school very, very well. Aiden Smith and Anthony Wally. I can't remember the weight classes that they competed in, but both of them did extremely well. And we're very proud of them. Want to make sure that everybody knows about their accomplishments. So I'm proud of them. Anything else we got going on?
No, that's it. Just looking forward to the next several weeks of school and just athletics and graduation coming up.
It's fixing to be that really busy time of year and an exciting time of year. We've got prom behind us, and so now we're just kind of getting toward graduation, and you've been in it long enough. There's a rhythm to a school year, and you're just in that different time right now. It's kind of fun, really. I mean, it's stressful. It's kind of fun.
Right.
A lot of stuff going on.
And a lot of people know, this is probably another topic for another day, but I've heard a lot of teachers excited about the pay raise they will get.
Oh, absolutely.
So that may be something we can talk about.
It is another topic, and I'll say this. I spoke to Senator Dennis DeBar, and I know it's not my job to pump somebody up on a political basis, but I told him yesterday that I was how much I appreciated his efforts and his listening throughout the state and the work that he did to get that bill passed, and I don't think average Joe knows just how much it took from him to get that done. So very happy with that. A lot of things that's going on in the legislature that are positive. Some not so much, but that's how it goes.
It involves me getting a raise. I don't keep up with it.
Well, definitely needed. So hopefully the investment in education overall will continue to grow. So these kids, if you don't spend enough time around them, you really learn a lot from them. I know I do, and that's one of the things that I enjoy most about my time at the high school. So,
Well, this time next week, we should have a clearer picture of where the baseball, softball teams are gonna be finishing and maybe even playing, so.
right. So, we're looking forward to that. Enjoyed being back. It's been a couple of
Yeah.
weeks, so, it was nice to do this again. Interesting the way we played it out, doing it over 2 days, but, I hope you enjoyed it and hope you'll be back with us next week. Once again, get out this weekend and support these Wildcats. A couple of really big games. Have a good weekend.
All right.